In the land of StarCraft, there's one place that is more deadly and dangerous than anywhere else on the internet. It's filled with vagabonds and rejects that for some reason spend their days hanging out on a forum discussing a game which they seem to hate. I know that I should steer clear of it, but sometimes I stumble across a thread that is just too juicy that I can't look away. So yesterday on my live stream, I took a dumpster dive right into the battlenet forums. SC2 is pretty awful now. It's no longer an RTS, plus dead game. Let's see what they have to say. I signed in recently after leaving since Heart of the Swarm. The game is literally awful now. There's huge maps where players are on 4 bases at 7 minutes, whereas in StarCraft 1, sometimes there'd be a game where both players were on 1 base for like 10 minutes or even longer, because in that game, strategy and tactics were actually important. 12,000 viewers for the finals of DreamHack? What an embarrassment! Even during Wings when the maps were imbalanced, still better than today's giant macro maps. There'd be like 120k viewers total. Wait! Wait. Wings of Liberty maps were better? Wings of Liberty Season 1 map pool. Cool ass ravine. Oh my god, cool ass ravine. Okay, this map here is this map was beautiful. For those who don't remember, this map was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so basically, you're spawning up here. This is a much better example of a stupid map, guys. Cool ass ravine. That's right. So you've got the main there, so far to get to your natural, and your natural has a giant high ground on top of it, which they can drop directly above your natural mineral line. Or Reapers can hop up and kill your worker line from above. I kid you not. Like, literally, they can make a Reaper and just deny mining on your natural. I think it even has... Are those watchtowers on the high ground as well? There's definitely watchtowers down here. I hope these are just statues. I hope they're just doodads. But yeah, it absolutely appallingly bad. You've got another base here, but guess what? It's on a cliff as well. I don't even know if you can get up to this base. I think you have to break rocks to get there. And they can drop up there and siege your main production from a high ground where you can't even do anything. Like, these maps were so bad. There was literally games where every game on maps like this, people would drop a tank and 4 marines up here on the high ground, and the Zerg would like try to like make 4 spine crawlers and then run them over and route them next to those units and hope the Terran wasn't watching and didn't just move the siege tank back. Like, that is the level of StarCraft that was being played. It was so bad. It was so appalling. But they were still better because they weren't giant, remember, guys? They weren't giant. We had maps like Steps of War. For those who don't remember, Steps of War... So, you know how Rotterdam complains about how these days, basically... Rotterdam complains that a sensor tower can see most of Waterfall? On this map, if you built a sensor tower in your main, you could probably see the workers mining in your opponent's natural. Like, a siege tank on your natural, on the high ground, covers 2/3 of the map. It was a popular tournament map. Many tens of thousands of dollars were won and lost on this map. Literally, your opponent would move out and they were at your base before they left their base. It was the worst thing of all time.
My man.
But anytime someone complains about any aspect of modern StarCraft, they're always like, the old days were so much better. Yes, the maps were imbalanced, but they were so much better. No, I'm allowing your first paragraph. I'm not allowing this one. Bad Battlenet poster, bad. Not only was their point about the maps completely wrong, but I checked in the mainstream, the English broadcast had 21 to 22,000 concurrent viewers for the grand finals of Valencia, not the 12,000 they claim. And if you add in all the other streams, which it seems they seem to be doing for their 120k overall viewership across all stream swings of Liberty, well, the overall viewership was well over 30,000. Now, obviously, that's nowhere near some of the great peaks we've had. As recently as 2018, I think we had about 400,000 people live watching the grand finals of Serral versus Stats, which is amazing. But it's still kind of showing that this person might not be really sticking with the facts in their analysis. You've also got to point out that, of course, a lot of people actually watch StarCraft on YouTube. It's a much older base of users. So unlike a game like Fortnite or whatever's popping off with the kiddies, where you've got all these young kids with lots of spare time who are glued to Twitch and love that live content, most of my real life friends still watch a lot of StarCraft tournaments, but they do it almost all on YouTube, catching up after the fact because they've got busy schedules and families and kids and all sorts of other responsibilities. I'm relatively certain even a Warcraft 3 or Warcraft 2 tournament would get more net viewers. Wait. I was giving this person some credit for their first paragraph. Wait. A Warcraft 2 tournament would get more viewers. What? So I went hunting for Warcraft 2 tournaments here, and it took me a while, so I'm not showing you the whole thing, but basically, I couldn't figure out if this was even a real tournament, which is all that came up when I searched Warcraft 2 tournaments. It seemed to be a first-person view VOD with no commentary, and I couldn't actually find any commentated Warcraft 2 tournaments, so it's definitely not pulling more views than StarCraft 2. On the other hand, I'd love to watch some Warcraft 2 commentary. I know there's got to be some out there, so if any of you know where it is, if you can link me some up in the comments or let me know where I could find it, I'd love to check some out. Does Warcraft 3 get a lot of viewers, guys? Warcraft 3, DreamHack. They still do DreamHack Masters, right? The Warcraft 3 Open. Grand Final. Let's go one from a year ago. This is probably one of their biggest viewed videos since it popped up a while back. 85,000 views for a Grand Final. Happy versus Lilia. Can't say 85,000 views is that good, but let's compare. I know Bunny Serral, not fan favorites, sorry, not Bunny Serral, Bunny Hero. They're not actually the biggest view guys. So I don't know if that would have even hit 100,000. That's only at 77. Warcraft 3, more views than most recent StarCraft tournament finals. Though to be fair, the SC2 highlights video of it has 120,000 views, so more people watch the, how long is the highlights video? There's a 42-minute highlight video of it that shows most of it anyway. What was Valencia? Dark Maru Valencia SC2? Let's look at viewership here, guys. 365,000 views for when you've got if you have Maru or Serral or anything. So that claim is pretty much done to dust. StarCraft on average is probably 2 to 3 times the viewership of Warcraft 3, I believe. In StarCraft 1, even 2 amateurs Zerg vs. Zerging is exciting to watch. I literally fell asleep watching DreamHack yesterday. It's just a computer version of Build Order plus rock, paper, scissors. In StarCraft 2, any unique strategy you open with is essentially an all-in. So you either proxy, or you do one of maybe 3 build orders for your matchup. There's almost no room for creativity. The game lacks so much creativity that hero building 5 oracles is considered groundbreaking. Oh my god, he deviated from the 1 to 3 oracles I produce off the build. This is so exciting. Lockdown on PCs like in StarCraft 1? Nope. Cloaked Wraiths catching a group of Goliaths off guard while directing attention somewhere else? Nope. Cloaked Wraiths catching a group of Goliaths off guard while directing attention somewhere else. So you know what's so great, guys? At this point, I can tell this person would see a bunch of Dark Templar blink on a Terran army. So they do it. They attack somewhere, distract the Terran, and then they blink somewhere else on their army and kill all the bio before they react and scan. And they would go, look at how disgusting and stupid this game is. And then they would look at the exact same move where a bunch of Cloaked Wraiths fly over some Goliaths while they're distracted elsewhere, and they kill them and run away, and they'd go, whoa, beautiful skill. It's literally, they're like, the creative play is making your opponent look elsewhere and running invisible units in. This is amazing. And every unique strategy is essentially an all-in. Like, we see so much build variety and so many unique strategies. And don't get me wrong, there are periods where you watch a bunch of matches and the meta is very tight and lots of pros are doing the same thing. But that's why you watch Reina, Dark, and Hero games, as well as like Gumiho. If you like creative plays, you watch those players who play creative. There is a lot of players who will just go with the zeitgeist and do the common build, and they'll all copy the Blink Oracle build or the Void Ray Carrier build or whatever it is, right? Oh, they're all just doing 3 racks bio tank push. Like, that's just the way it is. But there's always players who are so creative. This is hilarious. There's no beautiful skill-based battles at all. You either have the counter or you got counted. High Templar Zealot versus Hydras like at Brood War? Nope. What? Even when there is a hyped up battle, it's over in 8 seconds. That's embarrassing. I just like the way this is capitalized. It's over in 8 seconds. That's embarrassing. Do you guys remember this game? There's like no battles. They're all over in 8 seconds. It's like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes they are very quick and sudden. That is the nature of StarCraft. And it's something you can absolutely design-wise be like, I don't like that. I like this slow drawn out thing. And I really do feel it. It's a huge advantage of Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 1. And why I sometimes prefer playing those is because there is a bit more time to taste the battles. And it's a different sort of game. But the thing is, StarCraft 2 has always had this from day one. So you can't be like, StarCraft is dead now and it was better in the past. Because like there's all these different arguments. And this is what happens whenever anyone rages at a game. They basically go and they start just kind of conflating everything. They're like, well, this thing that's always been there is terrible and that's why the game is bad. But also the game's way worse now because what they've done to it and they've changed it and they changed my beautiful game. And I'm like, wait, which one are we saying? Do we hate the game at its core? Or do we hate the recent changes to, like, which one? And usually people, when they start ranting about this, they go down this chain. And for me, it speaks as someone who hasn't been watching the best StarCraft matches and definitely hasn't been hanging out and appreciating them all, right? Because there are some good games. Check this out. Okay, so here comes a big SCV pool fight. Okay, so fight starts 7:40, 7:45, we'll say. There's some big storms. Stalkers come forward, gets rid of the tanks, needs to quickly disengage, does Hero, because he's overextended. Okay, so 8 seconds. We've already had 12 seconds, and Hero's now pulling back, buying time, gets the battery overcharge off. Now, Maru's going to push into the natural, but he's a little wary of getting trapped and flanked up there. And there's Zealots plus a battery on that natural, but he guns those down. He's got to move back. Okay, cool. So this one started at 7:45. This is an 8-second battle. This is a sick battle. This is like a really good back and forth battle where basically Maru knows if he shoves in the natural, he will get surrounded and he might walk into like a storm or some Archon battery or something. And you could argue Maru maybe could have just shoved in there. And he does. He actually shoves in and does some big damage. Look at this. He's killing every probe on the natural. Game over. What a shit game. StarCraft's just, it's so decided by one fight. It's so bad. And this is my big problem with StarCraft 2. Look at this game, guys. I tried to find an example. And even this shill who's paid by Bobby Kotick to pretend that StarCraft's still an alive game. He pays me directly into my bank account every week. I just need to say, thank you, Bobby Kotick. Thank you. And then he sends it to me. Even I can't come up with a good game because now it's over. That one fight that took over a minute. And I mean, this is just, it's just the problem with StarCraft these days, guys. It really, it's sad to see such a great game fall so far. Oh, wait a second. Wait. Oh, it's not game over? The game goes for like another 10 minutes and there's more drawn out battles. And there's one where there's 6 Immortals microing back into shield batteries and refusing to commit. And there's Stalker harass and it's 20 minutes of back and forth war. So yeah, the 8-second battle that's over in a flash was over a minute of protracted intense micro, and it also didn't end up deciding the game, and it went on for way longer. The main thing is the game is not fun to play anymore. Even rolling someone while maxing out at 7 minutes doesn't feel like an RTS win. It feels like I took a few bases and A-clicked with a non-countered composition. So this is, I think my favorite thing is this like non-counted, or you have the counter or you don't have the counter and it's just based off the builds. Like, does this player not understand that like scouting works? Like how scouting works? It's very confusing to me how they keep saying this like non-counted composition, or if you make a build and then you don't have the counter, you know, the counter, whoever builds the counter build will win. I feel like they heard the first 30 seconds of a Home Story Cupcast with like Lambo being like, oh, he lost one drone, this is GG, because this build's not good against that build, and then like closed the cast and just like fucking inscribed it on stone, and then somehow imprinted that stone in their brain and is like, build order, wins happen every game. It's very, I don't think they understand what happened. I also like, so this 7-minute max out, so they're clearly talking about they don't like the fact that the game gets so big and their brain gets overwhelmed. And I sometimes feel the same. When both sides just sit there till they're 4 base, 5 base, that's not my favorite version of StarCraft. So I resonate with the first half of this. And you know what? It's not my favorite version of StarCraft. Maybe I should have had a better opening with a sick 2-base timing to avoid that sort of game that I don't want, right? Because you can be really aggressive on 1 or 2 bases and stop that happening. But I gotta say, I'll give you a little bit of credit. I understand that if you don't like that sort of game and you're not a creative player and you just copy what you've seen the pros do and you feel that's the only way to play, you could feel trapped. But this is why playing StarCraft in a community is the answer. Rather than just raging on a forum, you can go out there and you know what you can do? You can go on a forum and go, man, I'm really frustrated with, like, we just go to 4 bases at 7 minutes max out. I feel like I'm not even making many decisions. I don't really like this style of StarCraft. You share that with your buddies in a clan or on a forum or in a Discord or in a Twitch chat. And then people go, oh, you know, there's actually a really cool 2-base build that kills people most of the time. Or there's this really fun battlecruiser harassment build where usually you end up like winning on 2 or 3 bases. And that like basically completely avoids 5-base games. And you're like, oh, there's just a different way to play the game. And I just had my blinders on because I just hadn't learnt it because I was playing in a void, only watching tournaments on YouTube later on and not realizing that StarCraft's really frustrating when you isolate yourself. And if you play it in a community, you realize for every time you get frustrated and irrational, there's someone who knows more about the game than you, and they're going to share that information with you, and you'll get better and you'll find the game more fun. But if you sit in a corner shouting on the battlenet forums, which is the absolute sewer of StarCraft discussion, you're not hanging out in a community. You're literally jumping in a pile of toxic sludge. Wasn't there a guy in Captain Planet called Captain Pollution? This is what I'm thinking of. Like, I feel like you have 2 choices. Yeah. You guys remember this guy? Man, I hated this guy. I remember there was one episode I legitimately cried as a 4-year-old because I was watching Captain Planet. It was my favorite show at the time. And there was an episode which was a 2-parter, which I didn't really understand. I was 4. And Captain Pollution won the episode. He literally, like, he had Captain Planet and he was like toxic sludging him or something. And it looked like he was going to die. And then they just said, oh, cut the episode to be continued. And I was like, I was distraught because every episode Captain Planet was meant to win. But then Captain Pollution, I remember crying. My older brother made fun of me. He's like, you're crying at Captain Planet. You're an idiot. And I was 4. I was upset. But I've realized now as I go, you can pick 2 paths. You can go the Captain Pollution way. And that's what happens if you hang out on the Battlenet forums. But the Captain Planet way is if you go join an active Discord community. And you hang out, and you join a clan, and you play some fun clan matches, and it's not really serious, but it's just like playing football with your buddies on the weekend, and it's fun because it's a social activity rather than just going into ladder, 1v1, no chat channels, click ranked, and having you sitting alone with your bloody ladder anxiety. No one wants that. Guys, join Captain Planet. Join the what are they called? Captain Planet's people. There's like the little dude with the heart ring and stuff. Get some love in you. Play in a community. Don't join the toxic sludge heap, the Captain Pollution land of the Battlenet forums, man. In StarCraft 1, I don't think a single foreigner ever beat a Korean on a stage that mattered. Whoa. What? Wait, there's more. Let me finish. And when they did, they were at the tip-top of their game, playing 24/7, probably on stimulants, like Testy Android, who you don't know because you are New Age scrubs. It just got better. Oh my god, I was about to finish looking at this thread. I thought it was done. It was just going to be some incoherent rage. But that there has... Okay, this has got to be trolling, right? Actually, I've seen people who aren't trolling talk like this on forums. They're mostly on, like, Team Liquid, or they're on, like... You'll find them on, like... You'll find them on a forum for like Dark Reign, like some ancient RTS that no one plays anymore, and there's like 12 people actively playing it. And that if you go on a forum for like a truly dead RTS, you will find people who talk like this. It is super weird. They hide in these dark corners of the internet, in these like micro communities. This is amazing. You don't know because you're New Age scrubs. Like it's just amazing. Here we have a fantastic example, comparing Koreans playing in Korea at the time where it was basically the national sport of Korea. All the young kids were playing, wanting to become pros. It was on television. There was team houses and leagues. I'm going, well, you know what? Back then, the reason foreigners couldn't beat those Koreans is just because the game was better. Nothing to do with the fact that it's more of an equal playing environment around the world now. Esports is much more accepted in the West. Back then, there was maybe a couple thousand people in the entire rest of the world who were trying to seriously play the game. And even then, they were doing it from their basements, mostly in relative isolation, as opposed to being brought up in a team house environment where there was this huge shared of, knowledge pool and shared information where everyone was improving at a drastic rate. This is just such a ridiculously unfair comparison. I mean, it makes no sense to make this analysis. This is not exactly a realistic comparison, and it just shows that this is not really grounded in reality, this comparison they're making. Modern foreign versus Korean dynamics are way more even in terms of StarCraft 2 is not as big as in Korea, and so basically everyone's on a much more even playing field these days, and the shared knowledge pool in the English-speaking international community and the Chinese community and that sort of thing has come up to a level. It's much more even with the Korean knowledge pool, so the players aren't still figuring out things on their own, which the Koreans had learnt 5 or 10 years earlier, which is what was going on in Brood War. In SC2, a random Zerg from top 50 Europe can 3-0 a world champion on any given day. I don't think this person knows what a Ligulac is. Have you guys ever been to a Ligulac? So a Ligulac's this great website. You can go ranking current. It has a very accurate world ranking. It's what we use. It's what the tournament use. Let's go. It doesn't have a European filter. I can't filter by Europe, but I can filter by non-Koreans. So we're going to filter the non-Koreans. They said top 50 Europe. We're going to go top 50 everyone outside of Korea, including China, America, Latin America. Let's see what top 50 really means. Okay, it's actually on page 2. Let's go page 2. So the top 50, let's go rank 40 to 50 players. We've got the likes of TLO, who's been retired for 3 years, working as the president of Shopify Rebellion's esports team, running a whole franchise of like Rocket League and other games. We've got Milky Cow, Vindicta, Eric, Young Yakov, Battlebee, Spats, King Cobra, the Cannon Rusher, Coffee, my Chinese man. I love Coffee. If you guys want really good TVP builds, study Coffee. Art, Acheron, J. Oh yeah, we're already past top 50. So guys, do you think any of these names could on any given day 3-0 a top 10 player? You think these guys, let's go for like a less consistent top 10 player, Beyond, who's like maybe rank 5 right now, right? I think it would take like 20 series for any of these guys, maybe not 20, maybe 10 series for any of these guys to get a win over Beyond. Now, obviously there can be exceptions to that where one player catches them out, but like to say on any given day, like who, if you're betting your own money, are you going to bet on Eric to beat Beyond in a best of 5? In a best of 1, there's more of a chance, but in a best of 5, there's no way. This is utterly delusional. This is so funny. And they said world champion. So we're talking like Serral, Dark, Reyna, Maru's technically not a world champion, but you know, those guys, that's ridiculous. Now, just to clarify, these guys are insanely good. I'm in no way ragging on the likes of Vindicta, Eric, all these people. They have put so many hours into becoming elite StarCraft players. But just like any game of skill, think of like tennis. If you've got like Djokovic at rank 1 in the world, it's very rare that he's going to lose a best of 5 match against the rank 50 player in the world. That's just the way skill-based games work, and it's exactly the same in StarCraft. Don't get me wrong, guys. When I was a pro, I was at best like rank 50 foreigner, and I got hammered by the champions repeatedly so many times over. So I'm in no way ragging on these players, and I have a lot of respect for them. It's because the game is more of a poker rock, paper, scissors than an RTS now. StarCraft 1 and Warcraft are more methodical and respectable. It's just disgusting because after they patched up Wings of Liberty, it was actually a really fun game on all 3 races. Then Activision decided to make all the maps huge and create gotcha units like Swarmos, Photon Shield, Overcharge, Disruptors. The rose-tinted glasses are back. Do you guys remember when they patched up Wings of Liberty? It was a good time. Sniper, GSL. I don't even know if you can find the VODs of this anymore. GSL Grand Final. Yeah, this was a really good game at this stage, guys. So Fungal, for those who don't know, instantly locked units in place. Infestors could throw infested Terrans, which were legitimately insane units for 25 energy. They were as good as Marines, if not better. They were much better than unupgraded Marines. And it locked units in place. It did 50 damage versus armored, 36 versus light, and Broodlord Infestor literally had no counter. But that was the good time. These were the good old days when the Broodlords and Sniper won this grand finals versus Ryung, just making Broodlord Infestor pretty much every single game. He did go Ultras this time, and it was known as the Dark Age of StarCraft 2, where literally Ryung spammed Imba when he had to tap out in the final game because he was like, I'm not losing like to Sniper in any balanced game. Ryung was an absolute beast at the time. It was objectively really bad. Whoever worked on StarCraft 2's balance system should be arrested, and the key should be melted and turned into a tiny trophy for the world's worst RTS. Even Command & Conquer the original is a more balanced RTS than SC2! They keep bringing out the banger comparisons. Oh, I mean, to be fair, doing your A10 Warthog Napalm Strike, that was pretty lit, man. Bringing out your Mammoth tanks. I remember, was it the original Command & Conquer where Mammoth tanks had an extra rocket attack, I think, but they would only fire it at infantry automatically when you made the turret swivel, so you'd have to change targets to get it to use its secondary attack or it wouldn't use it. Do you guys remember this? Was that the original Command & Conquer? I remember that being in one of the games. This is such a long time ago. They sped up the game to the point where only a select few people can play at top level and the general population won't make it past Diamond. What? How does speeding the game up change the skill skew? You're still going to be in the same spot. All it's going to do is shuffle a little bit, where if someone's a bit faster, they might be able to go a little bit higher. But you could... How is that going to... It's going to affect everyone, the game being faster. It's not going to change who can play at top level and who can't. All it's going to change is like some people who are faster can play more late game. That's it. This is wild, dude. I love it. Did you guys know, in other news, the background of the High Templar unit portrait is a screenshot of a temple from Unreal Tournament? No joke. What? Oh, I get it. Okay, so this comment, I think, reveals a lot about what's going on in these forums. This is just like the most random... It was like... Someone's like, yeah, the government's taking us over. They're putting the fluoride in the water. There's fluoride in the water. And the other one's like, oh, yeah. Did you know in the 13th episode of Gundam Warriors, the anime, Mike Valenci did the Italian voiceover. And the other one's like, yes, yes, the fluoride in the water. Yes, yes, the fluoride's in the water. There's like, yep, yep. Anime. And you're like, what? Oh, it's people talking to themselves, but together. It's a group of people talking to themselves, but they're in a group, and they're talking at each other, but just to themselves. It makes sense. I get it. I get it. I like it. This person's like, hey, actually, you see, there's always a few people who I'm like, how are you still making sane comments? Just kind of responding, saying, oh, that's not true. Well, actually, no, this one's not true. You're kind of bending the truth there. How do these people exist on the Battlenet forums? I don't know. I do not know how these people hang out on the Battlenet forums and like calmly respond. I feel like you lose your sanity the longer you stay here. Oh, I like this one. Okay, so to finish off the thread, after a bit of back and forth discussion, some people saying, dude, you're just ranting. This is like, most of the things you said aren't true. Some people agreeing, being like, yes, 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 yes. The final comment, I think, wraps up this nicely. No, everything this guy said is absolutely 100% accurate. This game's balance is absolutely terrible, and nobody who plays wants to admit it. The shame is most of us are diehard fans, and as disappointed as we all are, we just absolutely love the game anyway. But that doesn't mean the game is good, or even playable. But that doesn't mean the game is good or even... Okay, so we got interrupted. Where were we? That doesn't mean the game is even good or playable. Everything the original poster said is absolutely gospel. Strong words. What kills me is the fans who just want to deny all of this and pretend the game is still good. Those gamers who just accept the garbage state of games today. It's like they cannot see the dramatic difference in player counts. Most people don't go on a forum and talk about how bad a game is. Most people just stop playing. Done. The thing is, people like myself and the original poster are actual devoted fans. We don't just quit the game and move on. We have something to say. We post to a forum, we speak our minds. And you brain dead followers think we are just angry? We are the 1% that didn't just quit because of all this. Of course we are angry. Something we love has been destroyed. Holy shit, that hits hard, man. All right, Sky Eater. So what you're describing is an abusive relationship. Now, I know you're saying, no, I'm just devoted. I love it. I love it. I don't mind. Oh, I fell down the stairs. Oh, I fell on a doorknob. I fell on a doorknob. That's why I've got a black eye. No, Sky Eater. Abusive relationship. You're not having fun playing. It's okay. You can leave. Just I know it's hard. It's hard to walk. Come on. Just walk away, Sky Eater. Just walk away. It's fine. It's okay if you hate the game. Just leave. Look. As dramatic as the original post is, some of the complaints do touch on a couple of valid points. If you don't like the 12 worker start, you prefer that slower pace of StarCraft, you miss the early game with like skirmishes and just more drawn out small scale battles, rather than obviously everything exploding in terms of numbers of units, army sizes, and bases so quickly, that's a completely valid viewpoint. I actually really miss those slower starts myself as well. I really enjoy the older style of the slow build-up, even though I understand that it's a bit more boring to watch the early game when you're an esports viewer. So it's totally okay to push for that. And likewise, if you don't like the maps being so big and so easy to defend bases, like I'm often pushing for more spread out bases on maps and some more attack avenues and wider open choke points, just so that it doesn't stick in a very defensive turtley meta. And that's another really valid argument that you can make. And these are both valid arguments made by the original poster in this thread. This is all totally valid, but when it's mixed in the middle of a rage-filled rant, it just gets completely lost in the noise, and it's like, oh, there's a few really good points. Then you've got like completely easily disprovable false accusation, false assertion. You're just randomly throwing out elitist comments about how the people who defend the game aren't old school and they don't know about the old games and the old pro gamers. And like, it's just, there's this weird thing that happens where people get their identity so tied up as like, I'm an elite old school RTS player. And when they start not doing well, or a new RTS doesn't vibe with them, they get so just vitriolic and like ranty about it. And like the couple of good points they have get lost in the noise. It's just a bummer because you can make a few valid arguments and actually enjoy playing it, and you're gonna have so much more fun. If you instead join an active community, you can still press for these changes in forums, in the community, while also like learning from that, the people at the same time who are going to teach you how to, oh, you don't like the 5-base game, how to keep the game smaller, how to keep the strategies going in a way that you enjoy. Because at the end of the day, you're playing a game for fun, right? So you want to find ways to make the game fun. And StarCraft's just not that enjoyable in isolation. There's too much going on out there that you don't understand why you're losing, why you're winning games. And it's so easy to just attribute it to things that are unfair about the way the game's set up. Whereas when you're in a community, it's easier for people who aren't as emotionally invested in your games to go, oh, actually, you're making a few really glaring errors that would be really easy to fix, and you'd actually be winning these games and having way more fun. But if you're not playing in a community, are you just going on the ladder and then raging and going out to the Battlenet forums, which is such a cesspool? It's really hard to actually enjoy the game, and I feel like it's like a toxic cycle. So get off the Battlenet forums, get into an active community, play the games with people that want to play with you. You'll have so much more fun. This was a bit of a different piece of content, a bit experimental. I hope you didn't mind this different video. If you enjoyed it, let me know if you'd be willing to see more episodes in the future in the comments. And yeah, obviously it's not something I do too often, but just when I occasionally cannot look away at the blinding light that's coming from some of these threads, I might share them with you. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Goodbye and good night.